Making your first 100K online comes down to 5 steps, and most people get every single one of them backward. I'm about to save you from making that ridiculous mistake. Now, I've launched 17 products and every one has made over $100,000. And by the end of this video, you know exactly what those 5 steps are, starting with the one that nobody tells you because the people who know it are too busy using it to get rich off you. So let's get into it now.
So how do I make my first 100K online?
All right, step number 1, we want to make our first $100,000 is what I call the 100K hot dog test. All right, and this is a famous test that Gary Halbert, who was this amazing copywriting teacher, gave his students and helped them sell a bunch of stuff. So you ask the students, you say, listen, we have 2 different hot dog stands. What would be the one advantage we want our hot dog stand to do? Which hot dog stand was going to do better? What's the advantage that that hot dog stand would have? And many of his students were like, well, we think that the hot dog stand that's going to make its first 100K faster, it's going to have a better bun than the other hot dog stand. The other students would say, well, listen, we think it needs to be the secret sauce, right? There was a lot of campaigns back in the 80s and 90s where people, a lot of these fast food joints were talking about secret sauce. That was the one that, differentiated things, okay? Some people say, hey, listen, we think we need a hot dog stand that's got a bigger sign. We're going to talk louder and it's going to be visually more exciting to people. That's going to make us $100,000. And yes, that will help you make some sales potentially, but there's a way easier advantage that we want to start with if you want to make your first 100K. And this is what Halbert's answer was. It's not any of those things really. What you really want, it's so simple, is you want an offer that has an immediate starving crowd where when they see it, they're like, oh my God, yes, instantly, this is exactly what I want. This is a problem I have. Boom, take my credit card, take my money.
How do you know what products people are starving for?
Yeah, so very simple test. Are there people already spending money out in the marketplace on the solution that you have out there? I'll give you an example, all right? The weight loss industry, which is a problem that people have, especially in Western society, is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? There's already proven demand. It's a problem that people have, okay? Versus, let's say, we're going to teach you how to do underwater basket weaving while you're swimming and wearing a Speedo with a cat on top of your head. Buy my offer now. Sorry, there's no proven demand for that. Now, if you want to do that offer, that's a passion, that's something you feel very deeply about, go forth and prosper, my friend. You probably won't prosper, but go forth and do it. But understand it's going to be a little bit more of a hobby type business, and that's fine, but it's going to be very difficult for you to make that 100K. I want you playing this game on easy mode, right? Start with the starving crowd.
So if I know what's selling, do I just price it lower than the competition and enter the marketplace that way?
Yeah, so this is step 2. This is a very common mistake people do is they don't actually work out the math in advance of how to price things and figure out exactly what they need to sell price point wise to make their first $100,000. Okay, so we do a little simple math here. Okay, let's say you decide to price your offer at $27. You want to make it super cheap. You think, hey, this will make it easier for me to sell. Well, if you want to make $100,000, $27, if I'm doing the math properly here, is 3,700 buyers. Is this possible to do? Absolutely, but it's harder than, say, a $2,000 offer, something that's priced a little bit higher. But in this case, you only need 50 buyers, getting thousands less people to say yes, right? It's pretty easy to get 50 people to say yes to something versus getting 3,700 people to say yes to something. So I always recommend people in the very beginning, just start with something a little bit more expensive. You're going to provide a lot of value to make sure it's worth the $2,000 price tag that you have there, but it's just way easier. There's like 8.5 billion people on the planet, or 9 billion, whatever the number is. It's very high. Can you get 50 of them to say yes? Most likely yes, versus let's say, sell to like a small country. The math is just way harder that way.
So I know when I launch products, I always feel like I want to give up right away because I don't make sales right away. How do I solve that?
Yeah, this is another common mistake that stops people from actually making any money online. Okay, most people, frankly, they quit before their business has the chance to work. And there's a critical mental skill that we're going to need if we want to actually make some money in this space. Okay. The reality is that most of us have been sold this sort of like false bill of goods, right? Like, oh, you can get rich quick in this space in 15 seconds. Everything's very easy, right? Super hypey YouTube stuff, all the gurus promising these riches in 15 seconds, right? That's the bad news. The good news is that you can absolutely make a bunch of money. I'm living proof of this. I don't have a business degree. I've made millions of dollars online. Anybody can do this, but they have to reset their expectations in terms of time-wise what actually success will look like, okay? So what I've found is that, yeah, you know what, like this isn't going to happen in 15 seconds, but instead, if you just adjust your expectations out a little bit longer and say, listen, this is going to be a little bit difficult. There's going to be some sort of trials and tribulations that happen, but I understand that this could take about a year of consistent work along the way. That lowers people's anxieties, and if they just stick with it, so when a little hiccup happens, they say, along the way in month 2 or even on day 1, right? They're not like, oh man, something's totally wrong. This is definitely not right. I need to quit right now. Okay, give yourself a year to stick with it, and even just that activity itself puts you ahead of 99% of people, because frankly, most people quit. They don't actually build the foundation that's needed for success in this space. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by this, okay? So, I made millions of dollars when I ran my business over the years before I sold the company. And how did we do on month number 1? Well, we had literally zero traffic. Nobody gave a crap. And I was working full time, making content, trying to get the word out, promoting it, but nobody cared. It was just like crickets. Okay. Now it got a tiny bit better after 3 months, 90 days, right? I think we had something like 90 visitors total to the site. And that's not buyers. That's just people kind of being like, what's this redhead guy up to, right? But fortunately, because I knew that good things sometimes take a little bit of time, and I gave myself permission to kind of figure things out and not beat myself up, stick with it. At the end of year 1, guess what? I had a profitable business. And this is simply just sticking with it. And, fast forward 5 years after that 70 visitor time, we now have a business where we're getting 60,000 unique visitors to the site per month and millions of dollars in revenue. Okay. So the skill that we need here for step 2, that's absolutely critical, I promise you this will make all the difference in the world, is you need to get comfortable with the feeling of being a little uncomfortable as you're learning, building the foundation and growing, okay? And discomfort, frankly, is part of the tuition that you pay to win in this space, okay? Nobody's just gonna hand you money without you building this foundation. And sometimes this work in the very beginning does feel a little uncomfortable. Cool. Part of the process, part of the gig, totally normal. Just stick with it for a year, and I promise you it will pay massive dividends.
That makes perfect sense. I know working online is largely comfortable. When it comes to picking up the phone and selling my video editing services, that's where I get stuck.
Yeah, okay, cool. Common problem that people have. They're afraid to sell. They feel nervous selling. Well, society kind of spooked us about selling. We hear all these messages, oh, people who sell, they must be evil, right? We're taught that selling is pushy, slimy, bad, which is why a lot of people just in general, they have this unconscious feeling of I don't like selling, which is frankly the completely wrong attitude, okay? The better question the reframe that you want to ask yourself is, do you like helping people? Okay. That's a better way of looking at selling. Okay. Because the truth is, we have to get comfortable with selling to some degree. I wish I could just walk down the street, going to the restaurant or whatever, and then suddenly people are like, here you go, Steve, here's $100,000 because we like you. Next person I walk by, here you go, here's another $100,000. And they just hand us money. That's not how life actually works. We have to help people. We provide value. In exchange, they give us money for doing that, okay? And that's just simply selling. It's helping people, providing value, and in exchange, they give you money, okay? So the mindset I want you to have here is that great selling helps people make the decision that they know they already need. And let me explain what I mean by this, okay? We all would have perfect six-pack abs. We all would be worth $1 billion. We would all have great family lives. We'd have no problems in our lives if we always did the things that we were supposed to do. But the human species, the way that our brain works, the way we process things, we don't always make great decisions for ourselves. We have baggage. There's things that get in our way, most of which is in our mind. It's not actually stuff or hurdles that actually happens. It's our own skewed viewpoint on things, okay? And so when you learn how to sell, what you help people do is you learn how to help them make better decisions, make it easier and get out of their own way. Okay, I'll give you an example about this, okay? So let's say somebody is 100 pounds overweight and their doctor says to them, you know what, listen, unless you cut this weight, you got like 3 years tops to live. Is that selling if you get them out of their own weight? Listen, obviously they've had a lot of baggage to be able to gain that much weight. But if you could finally get through to them to help them understand that, like, listen, we're going to make these workouts easier for you. I'm going to be every step of the way there for you. I'm going to charge you accordingly to help you achieve this goal of weight loss so you can live a beautiful, full life. But like, is that selling or is that actually helping people? So just reframing the attitude of selling to more helping people.
So for people listening to this still on the fence about selling, is there one final rule that really helps people?
Yeah, simple way to kind of get out of your own way and kind of reframe the selling thing, okay? If you don't sell crappy stuff, that's going to make you feel a hell of a lot better about selling, okay? So simple ethical rule here. Don't sell you-know-what stuff, okay? If your product can save people years of pain, solve people's real problems, you have a moral duty to actually offer it to somebody, help them get out of their own way so you can improve their lives.
So for when you actually make the sale, how do you present the offer?
All right, so when you finally get the opportunity to actually sell and help people, a lot of people get super weird and they start overwhelming their prospects. They're not actually like simplify the message to get it where somebody's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. I see how that'll help me. Yes, please, I will buy now. They overwhelm them with details. They get like super technical with all the intricate details. Oftentimes we're experts, so we think other people are going to geek out on all the details. Most people don't, right? So, if we had a weight loss offer, they might be like, listen, we're going to teach you how to do 500 perfect crunches per day by placing your knees very high. We're going to teach you how to track every calorie and do metabolic stuff with your smartphone, and people's eyes are glazing over. It's like way too much information. Versus, hey, listen, not only are we going to teach you how to have fun working out, but we're going to teach you how to get really great abs in 30 days or less without you having to count a single calorie. We'll take care of the rest. I promise I'm going to coach you every step of the way. Boom. Simple. Easy to understand. All right, so let me give you a very easy test you can implement, and this is going to make sure that your offer is simple to understand, okay? Can you explain your dream product to your prospect in one sentence or less? Can a child understand it and instantly get it and be like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense? If not, you need to trim the fat, make it simpler to understand, make it clear so people know exactly what they're getting. And they're saying, oh man, yes, I'll take 10 of those instantly because they get it. And this skill in itself is one of the big things that I see the difference between people who are kind of like stuck at like barely making any money or maybe upwards of like $3,000 a month, which isn't horrible, but it's not that 100K that we're talking about, versus the people who are having, multi-million-dollar businesses and selling thousands and thousands of units, even at those high price points. It's the ability to make your offer a dream outcome that's super easy to understand. All right, listen. I know we went through a lot of stuff here. If you are confused on anything we mentioned right here, or there's anything else that's a sticking point for you, or you want me to go more in depth, then please leave a comment below. I was where you were as well when before I started my business, I made millions of dollars. I was just trying to figure this all out, and there wasn't always people who could help me. I am literally here to help you. I make these videos to help people. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Anything that didn't make sense in this video, anything you love from this video, anything you want me to make future videos on, I got you. All right, let's go make some money. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.